Video games, from trivial frivolity to demonic influence, blockbuster phenomenon, or genuine works of art. Whatever your experience, video games are part of the cultural zeitgeist, and you probably have a special connection with at least one of them. That may be catching your first Pokemon as a snot-nosed 7-year-old, or picking up some obscure PS2 game that you really shouldn't have been playing. Over the next few weeks, we will play games submitted by these beautiful people. You'll get my thoughts and first impressions live. Then, we'll have that streamer on the show to discuss what makes those games so special to them. I hope you will join me on this journey to discover the experiences and emotions that helped us all form Core Memories. Welcome in, Mom Boy. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much. I'm really excited. I've been overthinking and looking forward to this for a little while now.
I know. It's easy. It's so easy to do, especially with this sort of thing. One of my favorite parts of this is I never get to have like voice conversations with a lot of you guys. So this is the first time you and I are like on the same camera.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's super nice. Well, it's wonderful to have you here. And as you know, I approached you and asked if you were interested in playing or in joining the show and what game you would pick as your like, this is my favorite game and I'd love to talk about it.
Yep.
You picked Civ 3. Why Civ 3?
So that day, when you messaged me in the morning, as soon as you asked, I knew it was going to be a Civ game, just because if I think about, it's very foundational for me with video games. But it took me until about lunchtime to figure out which one was the most formative.
Yeah.
Maybe people like who are Final Fantasy fans feel like very similar, you know, where you're like, well, is it 7 or is it the retro ones? Or
Yeah.
But I think that this game, it means so much to me. I think like my introduction to it, I was in middle school. I think I was in 8th grade. And you can probably imagine I've always been a weird person, and I'm from rural South Carolina.
Okay. Yeah, fellow Southerner in that case.
Yeah. And I've always, and in fact, I think in 8th grade, my weird was starting to blossom in a way that was becoming uncomfortable for other people because I didn't realize that I was asking too many questions and sort of like shaking things up. That's kind of been a trend in my life.
Okay.
But I connected with this, so I had a small group of friends, and I connected in particular with this one person, and we were in kindergarten together, we went to school the whole way, and then we graduated together, and then we still talk sometimes now. We're like not very close anymore, but I like, you know how you have those people in your life that you just love them and you send them love that they're doing their thing? It's like, kind of like that situation.
Yeah.
And if we ran into each other, it'd be cool. But he brought this to school one day, and it's honestly, it feels very parallel to something that happened with Vitamin Pug maybe last year when Vitamin Pug said, hey, have you ever played this game? And it's a puzzle game. And some folks can probably think of which one it is. It's the Case of the Golden Idol, which
Yes.
did not know. I didn't know we were making games like that anymore, you know? I like cozy games. That's kind of my contemporary leaning, is like Stardew Valley, A Little to the Left, games like that.
Me too.
So it kind of blew my mind, but this was kind of like an earlier chapter of that moment of like someone recognizing something in me that like made me feel very known, you know, like, wow, you kind of understand me.
So it feels like you had a friend that was basically like, here, young 8th grade mom boy, you will love this game. And it sounds like you felt seen by that.
I did. And I had been in this small friend group. We had been trading, you know, it was all physical media. This is like 2001.
Yeah.
So we had been trading our favorite games amongst each other. And I had played some Final Fantasy games. And I had played else? I had played a Breath of Fire, and what's kind of funny about this whole chapter of memories is I very much associate it with the place I was when I played the games, and it was like my childhood bedroom, and it's kind of like as I'm talking about it, I can kind of imagine that, and I think it's interesting how our memories can like be tied, even though we're not participating in this reality while we're playing the game, but your
Yeah.
brain can kind of make that association.
Yeah,
Um,
no, absolutely. And that's it's so I love that you mentioned like remembering the place that you were
mhm.
when you were when you remember playing this game, because that is a big part of the vibe that I'm trying
Yeah,
to capture with these sorts of things, with this series, I should say.
absolutely. It's really I love that you just posing this and asking people what the game was. For each of us and that you're interviewing, you've really it's been a very healthy thing that you've kicked off in our lives, so thank you
Oh,
for doing that.
I love
Like
that.
I
Thank
haven't
you.
really I haven't really sat and like remembered why I love this game so much. It would just if it came up, I would info dump on you about Civ games.
Well,
Like
now you
you might
can. Now's
discover
your
it.
chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. And I think it's important to know too, it's like I played this game I was always alone when I played the game. I was
Yeah.
alone in the previous summer. I'd had a really bad summer. I have depression. I It really kicked in when I was like 11 years old in a very
Yeah.
big way. And so this is me like a couple years into that. And the summer before like I discovered this game, I barely left the house. I
Yeah.
like stayed in my room and stayed up all night and skittered out to make a little pizza and then
Yeah.
dragged it back to my room. Like I got started I was really leaning hard into the teenager years like right
Mm.
away. My parents were like,
Yes.
"Holy crap."
Yeah.
Um and but what makes it really special too though is like I would play it and then I would go to school and I would talk to my friends about it.
Hmm.
And so it was sort of like kind of like having a checkpoint. um yeah, Ethan, mostly a single player experience. It's like a single player experience where it's like you play it in a block, you play it for whatever time you have after school, and then you
Hmm.
go back the next day and then you talk about it and then you kind of like, "Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, like I forgot. I didn't know that I didn't know mines would help me have enough gold and just basic things as you're going, "Oh, I'll try this particular progression and see how that goes."
Yeah.
Um
So like before
and
you
so
could like consult a wiki, you had to consult
yeah,
your friends who've also played the game or discover stuff on your own. Yeah.
yep. And it's interesting because it just brings to mind how hard it was to find information. Like I think at that time if I wanted to really dig deep on strategy, there were books and guides, I'm sure,
Yeah.
but like going and googling something, the state of that was nowhere near where it is today.
No.
You forums, you hoped there was a forum. You hoped that someone else had posted on a forum that you could find.
Yes.
And it's
Yeah.
so interesting because, like, now when I play a game, it's like the second or if you're watching something, anything, you're consuming media, as soon as you get stuck, you can go turn to the internet or whatever and figure it out. You don't have to talk to people.
Yeah.
And this game was a very solo experience, but it gave me something to bond with my friends about,
Yeah.
and it became the kind of thing where it's like if you didn't hate this game,
Hmm.
then we were probably going to be friends. Like if you didn't like actively want to like throw your computer, like it's okay, you're going to feel that way some of the time.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
kind of built in,
Yeah.
but if you could see the value in the game, then it
Hmm.
was like okay, we've got something. And um I think it's because the game it's so much. It's anthropology, it's
Mm.
history,
Yeah.
um, it's strategy, and
And I
yeah,
would I'd love to know, does it feel like, as somebody who also grew up in the rural South,
yeah,
I'm sure it was also kind of a little bit of a gateway to culture, Like maybe you
absolutely.
didn't know about Korea. You didn't know about,
My
The Mayans.
My world was about as big as that map in my real life at
Yeah.
that time. Like seriously, I had my family, we didn't have much money, and we were so my parents would like try their best and they would make things happen. We had a few vacations over the years, but like at that time, I'd probably left South Carolina maybe 3 times
Yeah.
for like a week or two at a time max,
Yeah.
and most of my life was happening in like a 15 square mile little block of land,
Yeah.
and it was a block of land that even now when I go back there, I have to work through a lot of it because it's changed. It's a much better place today, I think, than it
Yeah.
was then. But at the time it was like I don't know, people were very I was teased and bullied for being I was called a devil worshipping lesbian, which like thank you, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But
Highest
when you're a
praise.
little kid, when you're a little kid and you're just like don't look at me and my acne and like leave me alone, it was
Yeah.
it was a lot. It's like I was attracting attention that I didn't want, and I really associated that with a place. And so I think you're absolutely right. It made me want to read so many books and go so many places and learn so many things and just keep learning and growing, and that was really beautiful. I needed that. I needed some rabbit holes to keep me occupied.
Yeah, yeah, I absolutely love that. As previously mentioned, I was a small town, rural kid
Yeah.
too, extremely small. So I imagine like yourself, or I imagine that like yourself, there was a lot of times where it was just me and my game and nobody else. So I definitely
Yep.
relate to you on that. So what I'm
Yeah.
hearing is that you love Civilization, period.
I do. I do.
But 3 really sticks out to you as the like
Yeah.
formative version of the game.
Yep. I think it's the timing of it. It was the first Civ game I played. I since went back and played all of them. And when I was trying to decide which one, I kind of knew it was Civ 3 because that's the one that I've probably the game I played the most lifetime in my life, like longest play hours probably.
Yeah.
But it's the timing of it. Like it's the friend putting a PC disc in my hand, and be like, "Here's
Yes.
the CD. Go install this on your computer and bring it back to me."
I
And
I have been
yeah,
carrying a copy of Published Shadows Command and Conquer
yes.
disc for like 20 years now. I need to get that back to him. I'm going to see him this weekend. I'm probably not going to give it back to him though.
I listen. I have stuff like that. It's always when I move, I will find something, and sometimes it's stuff I swear that I've given back, and then like there it is. It's like the fairies.
No, I love that, especially because, physical media, I feel like played a big part of what you could get a hold of and what you could play.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
Yep. And it was like a portal, to a whole expanding world.
yeah, literally, I probably would have never known about the Mayans or what was it? There was like a Native American tribe that I didn't expect to see on there. And I was like,
I
oh, wow, this is actually kind of nice.
Right. It's kind of funny. It's sort of like it reduces all cultures to like a leader. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
The way it does that. I think they were very intentional. They were like, we got to have America. We can't have America exempt from this scrutiny.
Yeah. You have
Or
like
this
a 200
yeah.
BC Abraham Lincoln, which just like
Yeah,
that cracked me
yeah.
up.
And he looks busted.
He
looks
does.
busted.
Yeah. That was not a good look for
No,
old
it
Abe.
was not. He was not Babraham in that particular rendering.
Abraham. I love that. Oh man. Well, okay, so do you have a favorite nation to play as?
I don't. I kind of I think I get more pilled on the tech tree.
Yeah.
And I don't even really have like a you'll find people who swear that they've like cracked it and they like you got to do it this way. And there are certain things that, are if you follow the recipe it's more advantageous, but
Yeah.
what I love about it is like there's always a little bit of a wild card. There could be barbarians. the people threatening war could be full of shit. They could come and ransack you. They could come burn your town down. You know, like you have all of this happening. Your people turn against you. It be your own half the time.
Yes,
or want to
I
burn the
know.
place down.
Yes, I dealt with that last night.
Yeah, I know. I saw you with the civil unrest and I think they've made that less annoying in subsequent versions, but like in this version, every turn you have to acknowledge the civil unrest, and it's
Yes.
like I got it. Like
But yeah,
I'm
I was
good.
like, no, I get it.
know.
It's been like 60 turns, and
Yeah.
good job.
Still
You're still
mad.
upset.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I know. They get so mad.
Well, do you have a technology you like to rush?
I really like, so it kind of depends. I'll come at it from different angles. I think here's what I love about Civ. I think it makes you decide what kind of ruler you would be, and also it makes you decide, am I playing like from the heart? Am I role playing as a piece of shit? Like what am I trying to achieve? And so I will kind of cater it to that.
Okay.
I played a few rounds of it in the last week or so, preparing for it, and oh gosh, Vitamin Pug, absolutely, so true. Yeah, I played a few rounds in recent weeks, and the first round I played, it was like I had 3 cities, and then I just got demolished because
Oh,
I had
no.
forgotten about the workers. I was making the same like missteps you were making yesterday. It's like very, you're like, what? I'm supposed to do what now? You know? And so yeah, Pug. It's like, what victory do you want? You know? And so like, my experience in the past few weeks when I played, it kind of mirrored how it's always been, where it's like sometimes you go in and you're like, you're thinking about the world you'd want to live in, and you're trying to be like ethical about it, you know, and
Yeah.
an idealist and build a beautiful society or whatever. And then the Americans came and they kept fucking me up, and
As
I
they
found
do.
myself in this I found myself in this particular game where I was like, I had set out to be like peaceful ruler, serve the people, and then by the end of it, like I was losing because I wouldn't let it go. I wouldn't just let the Americans have like one city, and
Yeah.
we wouldn't let it go. You know, like neither one of us would let it go. And like, isn't that the world? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I feel that I kind of had the same experience last night when I booted up my very first game and was like, oh, I'm just going to expand. I'm going to do my own thing. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
And then for whatever reason, Smoke Jaguar just like, he pissed me off. And I was just like, okay, all right, we're fighting. And that was a mistake.
Wait.
That was a mistake.
It pisses you off, you know what I mean? Like, it affects you emotionally. You're like, I had a plan, you know? I saw your settler get killed, and I was like,
Oh, yeah.
I know that feeling. You're like,
Oh.
I'm gonna do this here.
How are you supposed to, what do you got to do? You know, what
Yup,
can you do?
exactly. And like, also, sometimes you just can't, like, you will find yourself having to make really hard choices. You're not gonna be able to make all the people happy, and I don't know. I think like one thing I love about Civ is that it puts and this was important, I think, because I was coming from a place that was like, America is everything and America is always right, and like, don't say anything wrong ever. Civ makes it so that you've got the types of government in a list. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've got it's like America's in a list. The
Yeah.
types of government are in a list. Like, there are selections that are being made, and there are different ways to live, there are different ways to organize ourselves, and that kind of blew my mind. And just sort of thinking about the historical cycle of civilization, and then civilizations falling apart, and then anarchy. I guess it's probably also very relevant that I was super ancient Rome pilled at this time, and I was like learning Latin,
Yeah.
and all up in that history, and it was playing Civ kind of like let me feel like what that was like, you know, like a civilization, like they thought they had it all figured out, and then it fell apart. And
Then it fell
so
apart, yeah.
why would we be any different, you know?
No, yeah, that makes total sense, and I do like that because, you know, as Westerners, we are pretty much told that, like, hey, our way's the best way.
Yeah.
our religion is the best. Our culture is the best. So I imagine it could be very formative for like a young, because you were what, like a teenager? You were like what,
Yeah, I was like
13?
13,
Yeah.
like 12, 13.
And that is a perfect time for you to, and obviously like probably already a little progressive minded, at least for the space, to
I was like progressive, but also like just starving for anything that made sense, like I felt very ungrounded. I needed to hitch my rope somewhere. I
Yeah.
felt like I was floating away.
Yeah, no, I completely understand that. Yeah, so it sounds like this game really opened your mind to like different ways of thinking and different ways of being.
Yeah, it definitely did. I mean, I spent the next several years, like most of my reading was around I kind of stepped into reading. I discovered the philosophy section of. I discovered new sections of the library, like philosophy and like
Yeah.
nonfiction. And I'm still a big nonfiction head to this day. Like it's so
Okay.
interesting.
I like that.
Just like nonfiction is like someone saying this is the truth, and I find that very interesting because, a lot of people say that things are the truth, but how do you know, and how do we make sure that we're still following the truth?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
And it kind of like I loved school. Like I hated people and loved school, which was a really hard kind of thing to balance. Uh, but this gave me it kind of like gave me a reason to like wake up every day because I was like, well, there's so much to learn, and uh, I might, feel like there's no point and everything sucks, but like
Yeah.
there's more. There's an ever expanding world, and like it kind of became like, okay, all I want to do now is I want to go to college and study anthropology, which was like my big goal for a very long time, and it was then I got there and started doing it and didn't like it, which is like something I do. But at the time, like I needed that. I needed like a big ambition that was gonna get me out of this town,
Yeah.
get me out of this house, and like help me find people that were gonna connect with me in like the ways I needed because I was very seldomly finding it where I was at that time.
Yeah. So it sounds like this game would be really good for kids that are more education minded and are
Yeah.
looking to like have a more learned experience when they're doing games and not just shooting space aliens or Fortnite dancing, which is fun, right?
Yeah, those have their value, absolutely.
They do, but yeah, it sounds like games like this can really lead to those kids that may be kind of starving for a little bit more.
Yeah. I think like I'm the kind of person that for me to sleep, my mind has to be tired. And this is a game that will tire my mind out. Like if a game is too easy or predictable, I'll just autopilot on it and
Yeah.
I will not I'll just be like, what happened? There went several hours, but like with this sometimes it's grueling. Sometimes you're just like, I want 27 turns to pass so I can maybe, make progress.
Yeah, do something, please.
Hmm.
No, I love
Do
that.
you remember Encarta? Do you remember Encarta?
I don't. What is that?
Oh my God. Okay, so Encarta was, I think it was a Microsoft thing in the late 90s. And basically, it was an encyclopedia on a CD. And it was this whole thing. And they really thought they were cooking. And they kind of were,
Yeah.
like, I bring that up because that was my other kind of like pleasure game. And it wasn't a game. But in Civ, that was the first time that I ever saw like a wiki. You know what I mean? Like when you
Yeah.
get in there and you start clicking and you're like, what's this? What's this? And it's they were very ahead of their time with that. And
Yeah.
I think that's what I liked too, of like not just learning things, but like structuring like taxonomy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
And now you have
making
an encyclopedia
yeah.
of everything that's in there. Yeah. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And I've been trying to find an Encarta disc, so holler at me, anybody, if you find one.
Yeah, guys, if you know where we can get a hold of one, please send to 101 Momboy Lane.
Yeah. Encarta tried so hard too. They were like, we're gonna make every school. Microsoft is still doing this today, right? With their 365 or whatever, But it's always been like, we want to be on every computer, and they really wanted to corner the market on encyclopedia, and then Wikipedia comes along and is like, hey guys, what if it's free? what if
Yeah,
we
what if
what
it's
if we all
free?
contribute?
And it has everything you could ever want.
Yes.
Oh, wow. So, like, you're a parent.
Mhm.
Does your kid play Civilization?
No.
No.
Not yet. And I honestly, so I think, so my kid, her name is Coco. She's amazing. She turned 8 this past, like, a week and a half ago.
So still a little
And,
too young for this type of game.
Kind of, because what I was going to say is I think that she would like it, maybe, but she would like it for reasons that would make me, like, sometimes when you're a parent, you'll be, like, a little scared. So let me give you an example.
Yeah.
I'm also a big Risk fan.
Okay.
Surprise.
Yeah.
And so, and nobody ever wants to play Risk, and it's a bone I have to pick with the world. And now I can play by myself. But I get the game out, and like Coco's like 5, and I'm explaining. And here's the point where Coco and I meet, where we're both learning and teaching each other like simultaneously. I'm like, here are the rules. Here's some good tips. Like, never get in a land war in Asia. I'm like trying to like
Yeah.
pass on like the knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And then my kid's like, I just want to conquer and destroy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And like, I don't want to take turns, and I don't want to do that, and I don't want to do that. So we play Risk half the time. We get the Risk board game out, and it's all about the map. And then we get the people, and then it's like a free range Risk where you have people, and it's not very organized, but you try to like conquer each other, like by pushing pushing like a stack of your people around.
Yeah.
So I think Coco would enjoy that. Going on, like, I think like when you're a kid, like you want power and you don't have it,
Yeah, because you
And I
don't
think
have
games help you. I think games help you with that.
it.
But
Yeah.
I don't know if Coco would sit with it. I think Coco would be like, this. Kids are like, these games look stupid. I think it takes to be like, I have nieces and nephews who are, like 10 to 15 kind of age. That's when you start to be like, ooh, vintage, it seems. When like this kind of thing might be interesting at that point.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, I mean, 8 is pretty young for this type of game. I wasn't sure how old Coco
Yeah.
was, but yeah, sounds like you got a little Genghis Khan on your hands if you're not careful.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. She practices on me, so.
Oh yeah, I know. My partner works with kids, so every time
Awesome.
she comes home, I'm hearing all the ways that the kids try to get one over on her, and it's never ending.
I don't know how people work with more than one kid, so big shout out to anybody who's doing that, including your
shout out to all
partner.
our teachers.
Yeah, yeah, because I will go for like an hour and I'll be like, I gotta get out of this elementary school before my head explodes.
Yeah. Well, so now that you've played pretty much every Civ there is there anything that you think Civ 3 does better than most? And anything that you feel like Civ 3 does worse than most?
It's clunky. I think like if you look at it just from a game mechanics perspective, that it is not intuitive. I think maybe Civ 5 gets it. I like the latest games too, but I like what happens with Civ 5. It's just a matter of making the turns feel less, like you gotta really remember every little thing. Like it's a little more intuitive in how it's guiding you to just make the decisions and keep things flowing. And I think that this game, they were really the history of Civ and like how it was made is really interesting.
Yeah.
Some people would be really upset that I picked this one because it's the first one that Sid Meier was not very directly involved with. You'd probably noticed on the screen when you start up, it's like, do you want to be like a genius or or Sid Meier? That's like the hardest
Oh yeah,
level.
yeah.
And that's the dude, the main guy. It was a group of people like it usually is, but
Hmm.
this was the first one. But I think that Civ 3 is leagues better than 1 and 2 in many ways because there were more voices at the table. And then maybe
Mm,
as you progress along, there's more and more people, but also more and more glossing, more and more, let's make this, marketable. At first, it seemed like they were just trying to make a game that did something really fun and interesting. And like, people had been playing turn-based strategy games, like using paper,
yeah,
like the nerds, we find a way,
yeah,
So like things were,
absolutely.
things were happening. But the group that started making these games, they really understood that the potential of like combining technology with this sort of like corner of nerddom.
Hmm.
So I think that that's really cool. But I don't think 3 is the best from like a technical perspective. I think that I'm trying to think of like super specifics. I've played mostly Civ 3 and Civ 5.
Yeah.
And I think like the later like 6 and 7, they're all right. I think I get like I you ever miss the clunkiness, like when it's the clunkiness is comfy because of
Yeah.
how many years I have of dealing with it.
I don't
It's
know
like
if I
learning a
miss
whole
the
new.
clunkiness, but the art style I really miss.
Yeah, and the
I
music.
yeah, the music is so good. Oh my gosh, I was
Yeah.
dancing like all night. It was
Oh,
crazy.
yay.
Um, but like this, I think that like this game is probably one of the most, at least visually distinct.
Yeah.
Because
I
it
had never
feels like
seen anything like it. Yeah.
the newer ones kind of look almost like they could be Sims
Mm-hmm.
style or whatever, but this really has like its own visual character to it, and I really like
Yeah.
that. And
I
my
love just
first
how you.
Sid Meier's game
Mhm.
was Pirates. I played the heck
Nice.
out of Pirates, so
Nice. That's awesome.
kind of like that, but with pirate ships.
Yep. And then there's Alpha Centauri too. That's super fun.
I didn't know, so that's a space game then.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
how
that's
cool.
sort of like Civ. In many ways, Civ ends by reaching Alpha Centauri, and then
Hmm.
then they were like, what if we make a game and we start there,
That's
and then they
beautiful.
will do Space Civ, which is super fun.
I like
Yeah.
that. So I gotta ask, are you a
Yeah.
fan of the Paradox games?
I don't know. I don't know the Paradox games.
Like Crusader Kings or what's the other one? They have like a space game as well. They're really fun. If you're interested, I
Yeah.
highly suggest Crusader Kings.
Okay.
And it kind of takes you, it kind of zooms in a little bit. You actually
Yeah.
play a monarch. And
Cool.
then when your character dies, yes, Stellaris, that's the other one. When your
Ooh,
character
okay.
dies, you take over as that character's son or daughter,
Oh, cool.
and you just continue that line. So it
Yeah.
is really fun. It's not
Oh,
the
I want to play that
same.
now.
Yeah, it's really cool. I like to call it, my partner laughs because I call it map game, like map watching,
Yeah.
because you're just watching a big
Yeah.
map the whole time and making decisions.
Oh, I love games like that. I like Jurassic World Evolutions for that reason because you're
Yeah.
like you're God mode, but it's really like your puppeteer mode, really. Like you're trying to keep things moving in the right direction.
Yeah, I think, Civilization, Crusader Kings, games like this, and I had a friend mention this to me, but it's less about winning and more about the story you tell by playing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because
And you
you
learn
might
about
not
yourself, right? When you're making the choices as you go through.
you might not win, but like I know I had a really funny moment last night when I was playing where I was like, "Oh, guys, I'm really trying to play this game, but I got the Mayans
Yeah.
up my ass."
Yeah.
And like where do you say that? You know what I mean?
I know. You're like, fuck Abraham Lincoln.
Exactly. And you turn around from Seoul, Korea, and you look and there's Boston, like right there next to you.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we discovered Detroit on this peninsula in this tropical time, It's so funny,
Exactly.
absolutely.
Is there anything that you would change or add to Civ 3?
I think it needs more of a tutorial when you get going. Like I feel like there are things that if you don't look it up or have someone tell you, they're really hard to figure out. Like it's really easy to start playing and to be getting ransacked and to have negative money because especially like in the beginning you have a little bit of breathing room,
Mm-hmm.
and then you might get a barbarian here or there, but you can usually make it till you have like a couple of cities, and then that's by then you get attached, and then here comes like you're not making enough money, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like not really clear. It's not really clear how to improve that,
Yeah.
like if you're just starting out, like, and also like workers, like the other units, you don't really, you move them, you don't tell them to do things as much, and
Yeah.
so unless you're fighting, like fighting, I think like fighting is intuitive in a game. It's like
Mm-hmm.
drag on that, stab stab,
Yeah.
but like build a mine so the town has money, build a road to the other one, like start irrigating so the people have water. Like you don't
Yeah.
think you're not thinking about like where's the irrigation button? That's what'll solve my lack of
Well,
gold.
and
I
it
feel like
took to
that
my
part's unclear.
second. It took to my second
Yeah,
attempt before I even knew that workers were a thing and actually helped.
exactly.
I
Well,
was like,
because
oh,
yeah, you start out and you're looking at a list and it's like, do you want to build a warrior, a settler, and then like warrior or worker is like boring. It's just like in there,
right.
You're like, okay, that one makes a city, that one protects me.
Mm-hmm. Well, it doesn't really tell you what worker does either.
No,
So
no, it
that
doesn't.
would probably be a good place to start.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
And,
I think the biggest thing that I kept getting trapped on was that like my cities just kept having civil unrest and I
yep.
couldn't figure out, I didn't know how to fix it and the game didn't tell me how to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
I just had to let it happen until it stopped happening.
Yeah. Yeah. It's frustrating, and also I think like another thing that I would change. I mean, I think it's necessary that sometimes it takes a long time to progress through your tech tree, like that's by design. But about, like once you get to about 60 to 80% of finishing this game, it gets real sloggy.
Mm,
Best case scenario, it's like things are kind of running and you're like, and now it's my turn. And now
yes.
it's, space bar, space bar, space bar. And you're just like, all right. Um, I think maybe they could have figured out, I don't know, something that like have your actions influence the progress a little more aside from getting ransacked.
Yeah, I think because my first civilization was Civilization Revolution,
Ooh,
which
okay.
was, I think it was the like kind of down scaled version for
Mm-hmm.
of Civ 4 for console.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah.
I remember picking that up in like 2009, maybe. But yeah, I do have a very distinct memory of just once you got so far along, you're just like, okay, well, I'll wait the 30 minutes for all these troops to move.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Yep. It's like you're either really stressed or you're bored at a certain
Yes,
point, which is like they could figure out a way to kind of even that out.
we need some
Now,
in the middle
Enemy
times.
Mouse, yeah, Enemy Mouse has a good point about trade routes. I think that's one way to add interest, or just like if you have the boats and you also are able to go places, that can
Mm.
be fun just because it gives you something to do, if nothing else. Like it isn't even necessarily doesn't have to be productive all the time. You can make it productive, but
Yeah.
and they're fun because they move so fast. Like you start zooming that little boat around, it feels like, you've got a rocket.
Um, have you are you interested or have you played any games that are kind of like Civilization, that are like spiritual successors, if you will, to Civilization?
I've played Age of Empires.
Oh yeah.
That's and and I don't know. I think maybe if I had found it first, maybe I would have a more of a fondness for it. Like I enjoy
Hmm.
it, but it just doesn't kind of like click in the same way.
Yeah.
Um, But no, not really. Like I play like Risk, like I mentioned before, but not really. And it sounds like another important thing maybe is that one kind of thing that happened in my life is like I have a somewhat of a like a pop culture blind spot. I have a couple of them, but
Yeah.
like video gaming from like 2008 to like 2000, I don't know, 17 or so. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's a window where I didn't play like any video game. Well, that's not true. I got really hard. I was hard up on some Warcraft for like to like
Ah,
2010. So let's start there. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe it was the Warcraft burnout that happened, but my life just changed a lot, you know. And
yeah.
so there are a lot of games I haven't played, which is actually really fun now, because and it's good. It's the same with movies too, where I don't know, I just wasn't participating in pop culture at certain points. I was like
Yeah.
just out there in the world doing other things, just living
And
out of
then
my
you
car at one point and just traveling and stuff.
and then you can go back and be like, wow, I can't believe that and what's nice about that is you can get games for like $2-3 that are
Yeah, that's
100-hour
rad.
experiences. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to experience Skyrim for the first time with my nieces, you know, and like they weren't born when that game came out, and so it was really fun. They got to introduce Skyrim to me,
Oh,
you know,
that's
in
wonderful. What
2022.
what'd you think?
I loved it. I
Yeah.
loved it. I don't have an Xbox. I have every other. I have a Virtual Boy, okay, but I don't have an Xbox. That's just how it is over here.
Mm-hmm.
So I've only played it at other people's houses, so I could rectify that. But I really loved the tone of Skyrim, even though
Mm.
it's like dark at times. But um, they really nailed. It's very immersive. Like
Yeah.
you feel like you're in that world.
Yeah. Yeah. You can go from, fighting in a giant war or giant dragons one moment to picking flowers and chasing butterflies like
Yep.
that, and it's it's really
Yep.
nice. That's definitely Skyrim's on my like Mount Rushmore of
It's
video
so
games.
good.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when we talked about Age of Empires, I think
Mm-hmm.
Age of Empires and Civ kind of came up together, but almost
I
like
think
they
so.
did branching paths. Because I may be wrong on this, but I believe Age of Empires was a lot more. You got to be a lot more minute. Like you
I think
had to
so.
have your units chop wood or gather stone
Yeah.
or that sort of thing.
Yep. I think they definitely were learning some lessons and like put implementing them, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think for me, the Age of Empires was never interesting enough because I knew Civ so well for me to keep playing it
Yeah.
very much. Like I would play it if it was around, you know. But
Yeah.
I've never. I don't know. It since I was, you know, in the last like 10 years, I've not been like I gotta play Age of Empires. Whereas I think about Civ if I even in the period where I wasn't playing a lot of video games, I would think about it, you know.
But it sounds like it really does have its grips on you
Yeah.
in that case.
Yeah.
Well, so I mean, we talked a little bit about how you kind of had a community around Civ 3. Do you have anything like that now? Do you participate in any like Civilization like subreddits or groups or anything like that?
Not really. I've been getting back I've found a lot of like subreddits and stuff
Mm-hmm.
from preparing for this and like really trying to understand why I love this game.
Yeah.
Um, but I think it's also the kind of thing, it's the kind of game where I have movies like this too, I think, where it's like I don't want to play it every day
Mm-hmm.
and I will play it like burst damage style, right? Like where I'll have a
Yes.
period of time where I play I feel like with Civ especially, it's like you play a couple games and then you're like, oh, okay, that didn't work, that did work, and then you're just sort of like tinkering. You're trying to be like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna try this different next time.
Yeah.
And then once you know, get the whatever achievement that you really want to get, once you get that, you're kind of worn out, and so then you're
Mm.
like, all right, so I'm gonna put that down. I'm gonna go do now for something completely different, you know?
Yes. No, I get that. I'm that way with Planet Zoo, where I'm like, I don't play
Yeah.
it. I don't play it every day, but I will sit down and play it for 40 hours if you let me. if you
game
let
is
me
so
boot it up,
cute. Yeah,
it's definitely
exactly.
like I think there are games like that where you want
Yeah.
to sit down and play it until you just can't anymore, and you say, okay, great, I'll see you in a year.
Mm-hmm. I love a game that you can like save and put down and come back to. I think
Mm,
maybe Civ is in games like this are comforting for that reason because it's like kind of like when you're reading a book, you can read a chapter and then you can walk away. And the other game that I've played a whole lot, like I mentioned, are the Warcraft games,
mm,
especially World of Warcraft from right before Burning Crusade to after Lich King is like the window where I was playing that for like, I don't know, 5 hours a day or more.
yeah.
I decided that at that point in my life, I was like, I could sleep or I could play Warcraft. And then I was working full time and going to school
Yeah.
and eating a lot of hot dogs and drinking Mountain Dew.
That's
But it was
great.
like a beautiful time, you know what I mean? Like in hindsight. But like
Hmm.
with WoW, you can never put it down.
Yeah.
Uh, there's always something happening without you when you're not there. In Civ, nothing's going on until you're there, and
Yeah.
that's kind of cozy.
Yeah, I like that. That's really insightful because yeah, you do have games, especially now in our days, that like really kind of create a feeling of FOMO, like fear of missing out. Like
Mhm.
if you don't log on this weekend, you're not gonna get this cosmetic or you're not gonna get
Yeah.
that. And I feel like that can really exhaust a player if they're not careful.
Yeah.
Versus like Civilization, you can log on and say, okay, I'm gonna start a run as the Americans this time
Right.
and play until that goes away. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. I know. Well, it's like our attention has become a commodity, like every app, game, whatever. Like a lot of the big goal is to get more of our brain time and
Yeah.
make us come back every day, like you start having metrics that are like how many people use it and how many people use it and then come back and then how many people, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the companies are very methodical and that's why one reason I like to explore indie games too when I
Mm.
when I have a chance. But like it's exhausting, and it's nice it's a balance, right? Because you want novelty, and you don't get a lot of novelty in Civ, which
Yeah.
is maybe one reason I like it.
Yeah.
I like it when I don't want novelty or want controlled novelty. Like, what a delightful experience to have.
Yeah.
Uh, you don't really get that other places, and yeah, I like that it's not. I don't feel marketed to when I'm playing Civ, and I enjoy that when
You
I'm
know
trying to
exactly what
relax.
you're getting. Yeah. I was
Yeah.
a big Destiny 2
Yes.
person. And I remember this one point where I was playing, and I was like, okay, I spent like 40 hours getting like this
Mm-hmm.
perfect gun, and then the next season came through, and it's like, okay, hey, that gun is no longer perfect, and it's not you now.
Yeah.
You get this new one to go get, and I was like, what am I doing?
I know. Yeah, that was me with my freaking raid armor in WoW. I always play a horde elemental shaman.
Hmm.
That's just my lane when it comes to Warcraft. And like they've figured it out over the years a little bit of like, if you've earned your stripes, like let's make it a little easier on you when there's a new game that comes out about like getting to the highest level and like
Yeah.
re-gearing up and all that. But man, there were times when it was like, good luck.
Yeah.
Like, get in there, champ,
I hope you're lucky because this thing's not gonna drop.
Yeah. Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
that is
Go fight it out.
that is tough. Well, so I've been asking everybody this,
Yeah.
but I love to ask this. My mother has never played video games in her life. Maybe she played
Yeah.
Pac-Man or Pong back in the day, but not since then. If you had to convince
Right.
her to play Civ 3, how would you go
Mm.
about it?
Oh, that's a really good question. As you were saying that, it made me realize a lot of us are like first generation gamers. How
Yeah.
weird is that?
Yeah, it's
That's
strange. My dad
bizarre.
hated video games.
Did he come around?
No, still hasn't.
No.
No,
Yeah. Yeah,
absolutely
that's how
not.
my parents are. Yeah. Oh man, I think that well, one, I'd have to get in her head, you know what I mean? I'd have to
Hmm.
I'm just kidding.
I mean, you tell me.
I think it kind of depends what she likes. Like if she is interested in like if achievements, like if reaching goals would
Mm,
be fulfilling, I could kind of sell that to her. I could sell the if you're more of a kind of like play it as you go kind of person and it's about the exploration. I think that's
yeah.
probably what I would lead with about how when you start, you know there's a world, you have to go out and figure out like what this whole world is and then figure out how to work in it and how that's kind of a mirror for a lot of decisions that we make every day. Like we
Yeah.
take in
Wow.
information and then it's really complicated and then with Civ, you get to like you run a little scenario, you know, and oh, I thought that person was lying and they weren't and now that city's gone, you know,
Yeah.
and negotiation, especially for people like women, non-binary people, I find Civ from that perspective very empowering because, like it's not very progressive about gender or anything like that. But when you go in, it doesn't matter who you are. You know,
Yeah.
you have access to power and like, you
Mm,
know, I could probably sell her on that too. It's like, do you want to be like queen of a kingdom? Like, how would you rule the world? Like, what kind of government
yeah.
would you have?
You get to
Um,
be the leader, and that's
yeah,
might not be something that you've ever experienced as a,
like when else would you
disenfranchised person. Yeah.
have that chance? Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. I think personally she would love the like history parts of it and the culture.
Yeah.
It would probably be really overwhelming for her though.
I know, I bet. I mean, it's a lot. It's coming back to it after not playing it every time. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I
Yeah.
know I eventually
Yeah.
love this game.
I started to because I've played later entries. I think like I've played
Yeah.
a little bit of 4 and then mostly some 5 but mostly 6.
Mhm.
And after a little bit you start going like, okay, yeah, this is no, I remember this is Civ. I'm starting to fall into it, but it did take me a little while.
Rhythm, you have to find it. It's hard to explain that to someone.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, another question I've asked every guest, and I get differing answers, which is really fun. I'll give you a
Yeah.
choice.
Okay.
If you could erase everything that you ever know about this game, all the experiences, and experience it for the first time, would you? Or would you keep all of those intact?
Mm, that's so tough. I think I think I wouldn't if it meant that it would change the progression of my like development as a person, you know?
Yeah.
Like if I would magically still be who I am somehow and then get to experience it all over and it was like nothing to lose, if I would
Mm-hmm.
lose nothing in that, I might choose that. But uh, I would lean more towards no, just because of butterfly effect kind of feeling of like
Yeah.
I like where this landed in my life. I like who I became
Yeah.
because of it, and I think it would be kind of I don't know if it would hit me the same way now. Like for the
Yeah.
first time player, I think I'd be like, okay, cool. Um, I would probably like it, but I don't think I would be like, oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
I
it
wonder what
sounds
it's like to run a republic?
yeah, when you're like a busy adult with a whole
Yeah,
child and a life you're
I
trying to
know.
run, you're like, I'm running a republic in my household right now, okay?
I know. Gaming gets really interesting when you're a parent because
Hmm.
like it's like anything, but it'll be like you got your hour for the day to do whatever
Yes.
you want. And you're like, what am I gonna do with my one little precious hour?
Right.
And
Do
it's
I want to
hard.
start a Civ and play the
Yeah.
first 5 rounds or do something else?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, it sounds like Civ 3 is just so like wholly transformative to you
Yeah.
that there's no way you would give it up, and that is, I would say, beautiful. And I love that because as we said earlier, a lot of people don't see how a video game could be that for somebody,
Yeah.
and
I
it
think
absolutely can.
that was huge about how this game affected me. I think you nailed it. Like I didn't know a video game could affect me like that. Like I especially a game that wasn't an RPG, like a game
Yeah.
that doesn't have planned story.
Yeah.
I'm all about story, you know what I mean? Like let's RPG. I've been in I've been RPing since you did it with little just typing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like old school. And I just love like using your imagination to cast a world, you know. This is so different where it's like you're kind of writing the story and you don't have as
Yeah.
you don't you have choices, you know, and
Mhm.
it's different. It's like the story isn't delivered to you and also you don't know what the experience will be.
Mhm.
So you can't play it and then go talk to someone about this same experience that you just had because you
Yeah.
followed the same path, which is really, really interesting.
Oh man, if you have a PC, you really should try Crusader Kings 3 because it is
I'm gonna.
that experience dialed up to 1,000. It is
Oh
so
my God.
crazy, you know. It's like, yeah, it's. I talk to my friends sometimes about it, and it's like, yeah, no, my monarch, Big Butt McGee, had 32 kids, and you know, got seduced by the Queen of France, that sort of thing.
That's amazing. I love
Yeah,
it. I love
it
it
is
so much. Yeah.
very much making your own story, which I feel like Civ really allows you to do in roleplay like that. I love that.
Yeah. It's story with consequences too, which is like hard sometimes, but
Yes.
it's interesting, you know. You anything that makes you want to like get back in there and try it again, that's awesome to me. Where it's like, because I feel like that's how we learn. We're very iterative creatures, and
Yeah.
it's easy not to try again. It's easy to go do something else.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're motivated to be like, all right, like when Shogundi's played, this is the run, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like that's beautiful to me.
Yeah, and maybe that's why we love roguelikes so much. You know,
Mm-hmm.
games like Hades, for instance,
Yes.
where it's just like the whole idea is try it again, try it again.
Yep. Yep, exactly. Like the stakes are what they are. Like
Mm-hmm.
what's gonna happen? You're gonna die, Psh, you know?
Yeah. All right, do it again. Love it.
Yep.
Oh man. Well, we are almost at time. We're almost at top of the hour. Do you
Yeah.
have any big events or anything that you'd like to plug for your channel?
Oh my gosh, I really do. Let me see. I think it's hold on Mother's Day, which is I believe May 11th. I'm having so this will let you by what I'm about to say, this will let you know if you want to come to my stream or not. We're gonna do a Mother's Day stream, and it's gonna be the Dead Moms Club because my mom is dead,
Okay.
and I love her. And today's her birthday, so happy
Oh,
birthday, Mom.
happy birthday.
Um, she made me who I am, and I'm really excited. And I believe CJ Willwright is gonna join me,
Yeah.
and CJ also recently lost her mom, and we're gonna
Yeah.
have a fun party because our moms wouldn't want us to be sad and like moping around. We're gonna
Yeah.
have like a dance party. We're gonna be in a space saloon that I'm building, and we're gonna have visits from some other dead moms. Like I heard Princess Diana's coming,
Oh,
so it's gonna get
wonderful.
real weird.
Okay. I love
It's
that.
gonna get real weird, real fun, and so it's for everybody. Your mom doesn't have to be dead. You
Oh,
know what
thank
I mean? Don't do
goodness.
anything drastic.
Okay, yeah. Because I'm visiting her for her birthday soon.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
So definitely, yeah.
that is beyond sweet. I'm tearing up at just that's
Aw,
so creative and so sweet, and like I
thank
think
you.
that's really you obviously you're a big member of Cartoonia. I think that's like a
Yeah.
huge kind of sticking point to what Twitch can be for creative
Yeah.
people like yourself.
Grief is a trip, and like being able to find each other on Twitch is incredible, right?
Yeah.
Like it's incredible that we in this big world, this big internet, these lives we have that it's giving the universe a chance to give you exactly what you need. And I don't know before Twitch, I don't know if I really like thought that that was possible. Still,
Yeah.
I was real jaded before I kind of like started to find community here. So I'm so excited, and I'm just like so proud of just everyone in this orbit. Like every name I see in this chat right now, I'm proud of you, okay? Like you're
Oh.
doing creative, wonderful things, and I'm so happy you exist.
Yeah,
You
look at
made
all
me
these
cry,
beautiful people
Sorrow.
in here. I know. You got me too.
It happens, it happens. But like that's the thing, right? Like we're here to be our whole selves, and yeah, I'm so grateful.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so thank you so much for being here. Really, truly. This has been a wonderful series. I'm really glad to like virtually meet all of you wonderful people. And
Yes.
I talk about you guys like
Yeah.
you're people that I know. You know, I'll tell my partner, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm hanging out with Mom Boy today, and
Oh, I do that too. My kid the other day comes up and goes, "This guy looks like Vitamin Pug." It was a YouTuber. I
yeah.
was like, "Yeah, he does."
Oh, and I gotta
But
say, my
yeah, it's
partner
real.
absolutely loves your name. Like
Oh my
loves Mom
God.
Boy, and just like I
Yay.
told her about the Dungeons and Divorce Dragons stream that I watched,
Yes.
and she loved. What was your character's name again? Can you tell
Oh, it
us?
was Sela Piss Knockers, which Vince, I don't think he said it right once, and he's known that he had known that name for like 4 months, so like, fuck that guy, you know what I
Just
mean?
Vince being Vince.
Yep. I miss him. Like I'm glad he's doing his thing, but man, you feel the gap once you have these little carved out spaces.
Oh yeah, I know. Well, I'm gonna have him on the show soon, so
Yay!
I'll be excited to sit down and talk with the man. But yeah, my partner, I told her about piss knockers, and she just walked around the house going, "Hell yeah, piss knockers!" It was so good.
That's amazing. Oh my
Yeah,
God, I love it so much.
yeah. I think there's something like I think there's a little bit of like empowerment in weirdness,
Yeah,
especially for like marginalized groups.
absolutely. I one more thought is, and this kind of relates to Civ, is
Hmm.
I think Civ is such a neurodivergent friendly game, and I think
Yeah.
that's part of why it struck with me. Like when I was playing it these past few weeks, I was like, I should have known I was autistic sooner by virtue of me liking this game,
Yeah.
because it's so like, let's have a structure. Like, okay, there's chaos. Like, let's make order, and
Yeah.
we'll make things predictable.
Mise en
And
place everywhere, right? Yeah.
yeah. So I think like it's really neat. Like, and Twitch does such a good job of giving you room to participate. Like, of course, there's the streamer, there's the people talking, but a lot of times my favorite times on Twitch are when I'm in the chat, acting
Hmm.
up, and like laughing with my chat friends,
Yeah.
and that's really nice.
Oh yeah, it was so cool. Accidentally, yesterday, Lemon Curb and I just hung out all day. We literally went from
Yeah,
person's chat to chat and just being
yeah.
like Spider-Man meme. It was great.
Yeah. I love that. I love that so much. Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. Well, I could talk to you for 3 hours and would
Let's talk
absolutely
again soon.
love to.
Yeah.
But I know that you've probably got places to be,
Yeah.
and people to be. So
Have negotiations, child negotiations, where it's like, get in the bathtub, please. Like,
good luck.
which
Good
is
luck.
harder than Civ.
Well, at least you have experience to draw on now, right?
Yeah.
You're like, I've ruled nations. I can make you bathe.
Right. Thank you
Well,
so much. Like I've loved watching other people's. I'm so excited for what's coming up, and I think the topic of this is just so healthy. Like I said at the beginning, you really like kicked off, like catalyzed a whole like working through some thoughts that I probably wouldn't have worked through if you hadn't have asked the question. And I'm just so glad you're asking out here asking questions and making connections happen, and
yeah.
just thank you for giving me a chance to share.
Yeah, that's very kind. I've always been interested in that like that really weird like almost nostalgic feeling, like attachments that you can get to something that's like functionally not real.
Mhm.
Like this
Yep.
isn't a real thing, but it's still an experience that we have and can get super attached to.
Yep.
And I'm really interested in how everybody kind of has that in them. So, well, again, thank you so much for being here. It was such a
Thank
wonderful
you.
time. And let me know if you need anything because I'm here for you.
Yay. Absolutely. I'm here for you too. And just yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, I will let you go, and we will talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Bye, y'all.
Bye. And that was my interview with Momboy and their love for Civ 3. We talked a lot about culture and how video games can help you feel like the world is much bigger than your place in it. Make sure you come back next week when we sit down and talk with Neon Sock Media about one of their favorite games. I can't wait to see you soon. Hello. 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 I don't know what to do with my hands. That's stupid.
Bip. Okay. From Trivial. No. We will. Okay, this game's so special to them. So special to discover the experiences. Do I need to be more animated? You How's my lighting? And you probably have experience, or cock. More energy, more passion, more energy. Over the next few weeks, we're going to be playing these video games. So you got to look at the camera, stupid. I hope you'll all join me on this journey to rub my hands together, because I don't know what to do with my hands. You'll get my thoughts and first impressions live. No. Fuckity fuck. Why am I so bad at this? Bye. Bye. Goodbye.